Coming at you from the OLR podcast studio.
It's really more of a basement.
Coming to you from the OLR basement studio.
But it's still a podcast.
Coming to you from the podcast basement studio.
Yeah, but you still need to say OLR.
Coming to you from the OLR podcast basement studio.
Oh, that's way too many words.
Coming at you.
That's not enough. You still need to say OLR.
Let's just start. It's OLR.
All right, episode number 2 tonight. I'm really excited about this, and Lucas, joined by one of my favorites, Julie Roberts, headliner.
We've been talking about this interview for years now.
Yeah.
The possibility of it.
The possibility, Julie and myself had talked about getting together for an interview about her career, and perfect time, and we were able to land her for the North Springs Music Festival, and really great interview. Julie gets to, talking about some of her past and coming out of that. Some of the struggles she'd had earlier in the 2010s.
It's no mistake that a lot of these artists get famous because a lot of that is personality, right?
Right.
One of the best personalities ever. I mean, happy-go-lucky. There's some. We've deleted some of the best interaction between you two because it's just part of the. Hey, how you doing? It's nothing. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't add anything to the interview. But you hate to get rid of it because it's like, oh, well, that's how that person is all the time.
Yeah. I don't know how long the interview is, but there's about 10 minutes before and 15 minutes after. Julie's a sweetheart.
Sweetheart.
And her husband Matt.
It's no mistake that she is so loved in the music community.
Yeah. Her husband Matt's been so great to work with in this process. I think everybody will really love her story. We didn't get into it really in depth, but again, she's got a book, Beauty and the Breakdown, for any of you guys that are listening that want to read more of her story. I'm just a big fan, Julie Roberts, and we love talking to her, and hope you guys enjoy this interview. All right, join us tonight. Our second guest of the night is one of the headliners for the North Springs Music Festival, Miss Julie Roberts. How are you tonight, Julie?
Hey, how are you? I'm good. I'm really good. I'm so excited to see you in person.
I know.
Again, we've seen each other, but we've been trying to get together for a long time.
Yeah, I'm very excited about this. I've been a fan of you for, 16, 17 years, and I think we met the first time at a Shooter Jennings show, if I'm right on that.
You are right. Yes, I remember that night perfectly clear. Yeah, so I'm excited to see you again.
Sure, and like you said, we've been trying to get together, but this is a perfect opportunity. One of the headliners for the North Springs Music Festival here in Whitleyville, Tennessee. For anybody that's listening, new fans or fans of Julie who are listening to our podcast for the first time, we're excited. And so this will be, with COVID and everything going on, you've not had the opportunity to play a lot of shows. And I know when you were pregnant, you played a couple shows, but this will be the first one post Mr. Little Jackson. So first off, congratulations to you and Matt on the newborn, and how's life as a mama for the first time?
Oh, thank you so much. Yes, he is my first child. His name is Jackson, and named Jackson because Matt, my husband, the first time he sang with me, we sang the Johnny and June song Jackson together, and so that's what our son is named after, that song, Jackson. But life is totally different and totally amazing now. But he knows my music, and I'm telling you, Justin, when he's crying because he's heard us practicing, a song that helps him is Unlove Me of mine. So if you have my first record, Unlove Me, that song. And for some reason, he loves that song, and it helps. It helps the crying babies. If there's anybody with crying babies out there, play Unlove Me and just try it out.
Well,
but
I'm putting it on tonight because we have a 2-year-old that cries a lot.
Oh, good. Well, just try it. It's soothing, I think, to him. But he heard, before he was born, he heard me playing music and practicing and stuff. So maybe that's why. But anyway, to answer your question, I am so excited. This is definitely going to be so much fun. My whole band is excited to get there and play because we are bringing the full band out there, and it's going to be fun.
Yeah,
I'm just excited to see y'all. We'll play, songs from all of the records, and also you mentioned Shooter. We'll be playing songs from that record that hasn't been released yet. So
Oh man,
I like playing those, all of that.
and I was so excited, when I found out you were working with Shooter. I mean, Shooter's doing such amazing things as a producer, and I've never heard. Obviously we haven't heard those songs, so I'll be anxious to hear those. And your discography goes back so far, and since 2004, and the first thing that was when we put tickets on sale. You were one of the first names that were announced, and I'm telling you, your fan base, especially in this area, there was girls ages 20 to 40 that just went bananas when I put your post on Facebook
Aww.
and Instagram, and they're like, oh my God, 16-year-old me riding around screaming the lyrics to Break Down Here and Wake Up Older, when my first breakup, and what do you think about those two songs in particular that just have stood the test of time for you? And what do you think about those two that resonate so strongly with, especially a female fan base?
Well, I just think that they're lyrically, Break Down Here and Wake Up Older are just, and these are the kind of songs I go for on all of my records. They're just real. And it's like you were saying, they lived this through this breakup or that breakup, but I record songs that I've lived, and those two songs are real to me. And I think if you do something that's real to you, you record something or perform something that's real to you, then it resonates because, somebody out there is going to relate to that same story. And I just found that a lot of people can relate and connect to both Break Down Here and Wake Up Older. And so we will definitely be doing those songs. And I love hearing those stories, like you were talking about, from people say, hey, I listened to that when I was 20 years old, that kind of thing. I love those stories. So those never get tired. I never tire of those.
Well,
and I never get tired of singing these songs. I love them. And I record songs that for me, are timeless to me, so that I don't ever want to get tired of singing them. And those two definitely are standouts for me. I never get tired of singing them.
Well, I'm glad to hear you say you'll sing them. I knew you would, but I would not want to be promoting that show if you left the stage without singing those two songs. I know that.
I would never do that.
Right. So yeah, I mean, it's a whole other different world we've lived in the last couple years. But with all the trials and tribulations you've went through in your life, especially in the last decade, and it's documented well in your autobiography, Beauty and the Breakdown. Take us from some of the struggles you've had in your life to now, where you've met your husband and had the baby, and you're still playing shows, and you've persevered through all the struggles that you had early in the first part of the 2010s. Just, I mean, your life is it's beautiful compared to some of the earlier struggles you had. I mean, It's been beautiful to watch. I've said beautiful twice. I don't think I talk like that, so I don't know why I'm talking like that. But it's an amazing it's an amazing story, and I'm just happy for you.
Oh, you're so sweet.
Well, I'm a sweet guy. If anybody knows me, that's one thing I am.
Well, I like the term beautiful, actually, because it's, to me, I'm very strong in my faith, and God has taken those struggles, and I'll touch on them in a minute, and just made this beautiful, almost personal comeback story, I guess.
Absolutely.
Because going back in time, you mentioned 2010, and even before that, things were going great. I was traveling a lot, for Break Down Here and Wake Up Older, touring constantly. And, I was on the stage one night, and I remember where I was, Asheville, North Carolina, playing a show. And in the middle of that show, my vision went blurry in my hands. I couldn't hold my microphone anymore. And I was able to finish the show and put the microphone on the stand and finish the show. And when I got back to Nashville, I told Mama, and Mama's always the only person I would tell anything to. And she said, you need to go to the doctor, because I was constantly touring, what I was talking about with you prior to us talking here tonight.
Mm-hmm.
But I was constantly touring, and it was hard for me to make doctor's appointments, and I didn't want to I wanted to keep on the road. And I said, Mama, okay, I'll go see the doctor. And anyway, long story short, they diagnosed me with MS, multiple sclerosis. And I didn't want to stop touring. I didn't want to. I had my whole life dreamed of singing country music and traveling on the road, and helping Mama. Mama lives in Nashville with like 5 minutes from us now, but I always wanted to help her. And so I just, life was good, and then I get this diagnosis, and I did not want to hear I couldn't play shows anymore, and I didn't want to hear anything about MS, so I just kind of ignored the doctor for 5 years, actually, and I kept having these MS, I guess, relapses or spells, but I was afraid to tell my record label or my booking agent that I had MS, because I didn't want them to think I couldn't play shows,
right,
and live my dreams. And so for 5 years, I didn't tell them, and then eventually the Nashville flood. Do you remember when that happened in 2010?
I do.
May the 1st, 2010. It was a big flood, like we've been hearing about in Tennessee lately, and we lost. Mom and I lost our home and everything we lived, had our cars, everything floated away. And my MS came back pretty strong then because of the stressful situation. We lost everything, and so I couldn't hide that I had MS at that point because I was ignoring it. But so when my record label and booking agent found out that I had it then. I had hidden it from them for 5 years, Justin. And when they found out, they said, well, we can't have you anymore. They were afraid I couldn't play shows. And so that was really hard because my whole life I really just wanted to play shows and sing country music, and that had been taken away from me. And then I wanted us, Mama and me, to have this happy home, because I grew up in South Carolina in a it was a stressful home. It was an abusive home. And I wanted to save Mama from that. And I had helped her get this house that she still lives in. And I lived in with her until I got married. And it was, it was gone with the flood. So I lost my record deal, and I lost my health, and I lost our home all at the same time. It felt like, or it did happen.
Yeah.
But, so that was really hard. But I always use those hard times, and I just keep going. And you just have to keep going because I have these dreams to continue playing shows. That's what I love. That's why I'm so excited to come there. So, and I knew that I needed to book myself and to start my own record label. So eventually, that same year, I started my own record label, and I called it Ain't Scared Records, because I wasn't scared anymore, and I was already working on a record for Mercury Records, and then when they found out, they gave me the music back. They didn't want to put anything out because they were afraid. So I had the music, and I put it out on my record called Alive, which was my first independent record. Eventually, you mentioned Shooter Jennings. A few years after that, he reached out and said, hey, I know, he called me, or he emailed me actually. And he said, hey, I know your story, and we played a show together years ago, and I want to help you. I believe in you, and I know, sorry, I have 2 dogs.
It's okay.
I know you have, I know you can do this, and I want to help you, and let's make a record together. And I said, Shooter, I just spent all of my money helping us get our life back together. We lost our house and everything. And he said, that's okay. He said, we'll figure out the money later. If you can get to Los Angeles where I live, he said, let's just make a record. And I said, okay. And so fast forward, we have a finished record. We're just trying to still figure out how to release it. So, and in the meantime, he's had all the success producing other people. But I've got to tell you, I cannot wait for people to hear the record that Shooter and I made, because it feels a lot. It almost feels like it would be my first record, part 2. It just, because he knew that record, and we kind of went that vibe, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and
my debut album.
And I can't imagine the songs that you recorded for that. Like you said, I just admire you so much for overcoming that. I mean, for one person to have had that much unfortunate stuff happen in one calendar year. I mean, much less a lifetime, but a calendar year where you lose your record deal, lose your home, and find out you have multiple sclerosis. That you even kept fighting for your dream is such a great story.
I think because thank you, and that's all I've ever known is country music and how it helped Mama and me. Growing up in our home, we would always go to the car and turn up country music so loud, and so I think I kept turning to music because music has always been there for me. If that makes sense, it just really has, and it will always be there. And I think a lot of people that I meet on the road connect to. You were talking about connect to that song. Music's just always there. When people leave, music's there. That's kind of. It's true for me. And so I just could not give up on it because it just makes me so happy. And so I kept fighting. And so Ain't Scared Records has released a few records, and we've, been playing shows and until COVID, but we're excited to come there. And I'm excited to get this record out. I think you'll really like it.
I do too. And you and I talked about it at City Winery that night. I was walking through and I was like, "Wow, that's Julie Roberts." And I've like I said, I've been a fan for so many years, and we talked for quite a while that night. And we went backstage afterwards. And the two takeaways I took from that show was one. I can't wait to see the work Shooter does, especially now, even what he's done with so many artists, kind of resurrecting everybody's career from Tanya Tucker to Marilyn Manson, which is, that's a real sentence. That's a real sentence for one.
Yeah, I know. It is.
And another thing was just how feisty your mama was. I told Julie Roberts' mama stories for 2 weeks after that, I bet, just how funny she was at the show with you. And how much you love her. You can tell how close you guys are.
Yes, well, that is so funny. But she is. She's very feisty. And maybe that's where I get the you don't give up, because she never does,
Yeah. I just
remember. You just keep fighting.
I remember telling you, I was like, all right, just, keep this one out of trouble the rest of the night. I had to leave. Was it with a buddy of mine? I said, just keep her out of trouble.
I remember that.
So yeah,
so
we've got such a great lineup coming, and it ranges from a couple local talents, in the Cookeville area. We're just a little bit outside of Cookeville, so we've got 2 or 3 local bands: Mike DeMeza, Caleb and Leanne, the Smoky Knights, who are actually the only non-country act. They're a little bit of, I don't know what they do. They play a lot. They're very pop, but also like Stevie Nicks and stuff like that. They're very diverse in their set list, and an up and comer, Addison Johnson, out of the Nashville area, Rye Davis, and then there's a kid named Logan Halstead, 18 years old. He's getting a lot of Tyler Childers comparisons. He's playing, just turned 18, so he's getting a lot of steam. But of course, then you and Alex Williams just completed a tour with Cody Jinks, so he's making the rounds,
awesome.
But yeah, I mean, everybody was excited. My sister-in-law thinks I'm like, I moved up the ladder in my younger sister-in-law's book when I announced Julie Roberts was coming. I'm the favorite brother-in-law right now.
Well, good. And I can't wait to meet her and talk to her and everybody.
Yeah.
But I'm excited. That's going to be fun. I love hearing about all the people.
Yeah, it's just something, like I was telling you off air. This place really, I think I said it off air. I can't remember. But just the atmosphere that this crowd brings when I'm able to bring talent like yourself in, I say, well, this isn't the Ryman and it's not blah blah blah, but man, these people are blue collar people who, I mean, they just love. It's not every day we have shows here, right? So I'm just trying to work to bring stuff here, and I think you'll see the appreciation these people have for you and your music when you get here. But yeah, my female demographic went through the roof when Julie Roberts got posted on on Facebook.
Aww.
So
I can't. Go ahead.
And you're a fan. You're also pretty big with the male demographic, if you can imagine as well. So.
Well, I'm excited to see them both, and I always try to do meet and greets and that thing after the shows. I know somebody. I don't do it for a long time if someone's playing after. I like to respect the artist after set. I would love to meet whoever comes.
Good.
So y'all come over and see me at the merchandise table. It'll be fun.
Well, I'm glad you feel that way because I won't have to tell 50 girls no that's been hitting me up on Facebook Messenger for the last 2 months. I'm like, I don't know. We can see what we can do.
Well, I'm so excited.
Well, good.
I'm excited for everything, to bring my whole band there and just to see you again and meet all of your friends.
Absolutely. All right. That is for you guys listening for Julie tonight. You know, I'm sure you can share this link on your social media, and that's at Instagram and Twitter, the Julie Roberts. So the North Springs Music Festival in Whitleyville, Tennessee, October 23rd, with headliner Julie Roberts, and you can get those tickets. They're $35 tickets on Eventbrite.com. So, anything else you want to say?
Yeah. Well, I look forward to seeing y'all. It's going to be a fun night. We got to have fun. We've all been locked up for so long, and I'm excited to play for you.
Yes.
Now, see you soon.
All right. Thanks, Julie.
Thank you.
All right, thank you guys for tuning in to our Julie Roberts episode. If you're a fan of Julie, tune into the One Lane Road podcast for the first time. Check out our archives. We have a little bit for everybody in those things. We're coming up on our 200th episode, so
woohoo!
Been a long time in the making, Lucas. So
about 5 years, 6 years,
5 years. But I guess we took off about a year.
Yeah.
So yeah,
my fault. My bad.
It's all good. We're back, better than ever, really.
That's true.
So yeah, that's the North Springs Music Festival. It's in Whitleyville, Tennessee, about an hour and a half from Nashville, about 2 hours from Knoxville. Julie Roberts, headliner, along with Alex Williams is the other headliner. Addison Johnson, Rye Davis, Logan Halstead, Smoky Knights, Mike DeMeza, and Caleb and Leanne out of Cookeville, Tennessee. And I want to take a time now at the end of the show to thank all the sponsors for the North Springs Music Festival. That's Keith Farms, McFarland Creek Outdoors, Prime Perimeters LLC, Winona Thomas, JB's Barbecue, Rolling Dough Pizza Company, Yankum, Custom Tackle, Jimmy White, Attorney at Law, Clay County Farm Supply, TriStar Beverage, Budweiser, Cookeville, Tennessee, Herman Springs Grocery, Vita Hicks, Happy Sack, Helen's Restaurant, Music City Toys and Collectibles, Bray Family Health and Wellness, Country Cabin Market, Cutting Edge Metalworks, Miller Family Dentistry, Macon Collision, Tierra Brown, Attorney at Law, Amonette's Eagle Auction and Realty, Brick Nutrition, Tennessee Diesel Performance, Hannah Smith at Hairhaven, RBS Wine and Liquors, RBS Market, Brown's Farms, H&H Hardware and Lumber Company, Katrina's Closet, Mission 931, Anderson Upper Cumberland Funeral Home, Dairy Burger, Realty Firm and Auction, Gainsboro, Fox Florist and Gifts, Dent Force, Duffer Excavating, Brenda Keith, Don Franklin Chevrolet, and last but not least, Johnson's Auto Parts. Man, what a lineup of sponsors.
Well, it's bad that nobody likes you. And nobody wants to see you do good.
I appreciate each and every one of you. I sure do. And also, for any of you ladies listening to the show, you don't have to be ladies. I don't know why I just profiled, because we're going to have some men gift as well. My wife is also having Sweet Bell's Farm Sale at the same location as the Music Festival, 5779 Jennings Creek Highway, Whitleyville, Tennessee. You can find it on Facebook, Sweet Bell's Farm Sale, or on Instagram at sbfs.2021. She's got over 40 vendors. Lucas's sister, I think, is going to be down there.
That's what she said.
And it's all the stuff. It's all those signs with y'all been to barn sales, you've been to farm sales. It's got a little bit of everything. We do have some male vendors coming down there. It's just going to be a big, huge time. And so, North Springs Music Festival on Facebook, Sweet Bell's Farm Sale on Facebook. And then look up Julie Roberts, the Julie Roberts on Twitter and Instagram, and Julie Roberts music page on Facebook. And glad to have her on tonight. Thank you guys for listening.